What's up, you guys? Happy Friday. That means that today the Olympic Games kick off. Of course, they kick off with the opening ceremonies. The opening ceremonies is a huge production the host country puts on to showcase all that they've done to prepare for these games. You know, you remember Beijing, what an incredible opening ceremonies that was, or London. You know, this is a huge production and we've all seen it on TV. Today, I'm gonna tell you what it's like from the athlete perspective. Now that's right, I did make 2 Olympic teams. We talked about that earlier week, what it's like to be in the Olympic Village in both Beijing and London, what those villages were like. But this time, I'm telling you what the opening ceremonies are like. Most athletes have been in the village for at least a few days, maybe a couple weeks, as they acclimate, as they prepare for competition. The opening ceremonies, it's that moment where you get to get all dressed up and represent your country for the first time. And America, for the last few games, has been outfitted by Ralph Lauren. So first thing you do, you get your Ralph Lauren outfit that you've tried to keep nice through travel. You throw that on and you step out into the lawn, and this is the chance for you to actually meet some of these fellow athletes. You know, you're very focused during this whole competition. Track athletes mostly hanging out with track athletes, participating with track athletes. This is a chance for you to actually go and meet some of the other athletes from other teams. You know, in 2008 especially, it was so hot, 100 degrees, 100% humidity, we're sweating through our suits. They actually brought us into the gymnasium where we had the honor of meeting our fellow athletes, but also to meet the current president of the United States at the time, George W. Bush, who had brought his father, George H.W. Bush, you know, and also another president. Their whole family was there. They were shaking hands, signing autographs, taking pictures, really just welcoming Team USA and wishing them luck. Of course, this was a huge honor, so all the athletes are surrounding the Bushes, and I'll never forget, this one stands out in my mind so much. The men's basketball team wasn't there because the men's basketball team obviously would be swarmed. They wouldn't be able to focus, so they stay outside the village. Well, they wanted to participate in this opening ceremony, and they snuck in through a back door. And as I'm trying to get a picture with George W. Bush, I hear a girl in the back scream, "Oh my God, it's Kobe!" And all of the athletes turned around and mobbed the basketball players, and the poor Bushes were standing there all alone. I finally got my picture. And I remember I didn't want to bombard the basketball players, so I didn't get any pictures with them in 2008. I made up for that in 2012. I actually found the basketball players and got some pictures with them. And it was a cool experience. You know, it's so surreal to be around, you know, players and athletes that you've admired for so long. I mentioned meeting Michael Phelps briefly in 2008 in the last video. Well, you know, in 2012, I really made sure to take a moment to breathe it all in and to go out and introduce myself and meet some of these other athletes. Now, you know, 2012, I performed much better, and I really believe that's because I didn't spend as much time in the village. Last week, we talked about how crazy that village is, but we didn't talk about what the opening ceremonies does to an athlete. It's very difficult physiologically and emotionally on an athlete, and for that reason, a lot of athletes actually skip the opening ceremonies. If you're competing right after the opening ceremonies, you're definitely going to skip it because you're out there for several hours on your feet. It's hot, it's humid, there's no bathroom breaks, there's no water breaks. It can be really hard on an athlete. And actually, in my 2012 Olympic training log, I looked back on that and recalled getting sick. I actually got sick from the Olympics, the opening ceremonies, and then went back outside the village to the apartments that my team had rented and recovered there so that I could come back and perform. There's a lot of really neat information in that book if you guys want to check it out. I'll link it in the description below. But, you know, the opening ceremonies, for better or for worse, it's a wonderful time to get to know your fellow teammates. But it is very, very taxing physically, emotionally, and for that reason, a lot of athletes do skip it. So let's see what Tokyo has in store for us during these Olympic ceremonies. I'm sure they're going to be unlike any others. I hope you guys are excited. We're going to have a lot of race commentary coming up as the games kick off. And I will be streaming some of these races live on my Twitch account. That's linked below. We're gonna do live race commentary on some of these, you know, events. Maybe the men's 800 prelims. I wanna go through the tactics of those with you guys live, play by play. So make sure you're following me on Twitch. I'll see you guys very soon.